Good morning. I'd like to call to order the September 9, 2014 meeting of the Indian River County Board of County Commissioners. At this point, I'd like to invite Stan Bowling, the Community Development Director, to come up and lead us in invocation, and that'll be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by the County Attorney, Dylan Reingold. Would everyone please rise and join me? If I don't fall over.
You're right there.
Yeah.
Let's pray. Lord God, we take a moment this morning to acknowledge and remember that you made us. We ask that you would help us line up with you this morning. You've designed us to work best that way. We ask that you do that. And give us your eyes, your mind, your heart, your hands and your feet to participate in things that glorify you and to participate in things that have everlasting value. That's what we want today. And we know that that can only happen if you enable it. So we ask you to do that this morning. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Stan.
Good job.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What's that?
Morning.
Thank you. Under additions and deletions to the agenda, there's a couple items. One, we have adding to the agenda a presentation by Senator Thad Altman. And with the board's concurrence, I'd like to move Senator Altman's presentation to 5A, the first presentation, so that we can free up his valuable time. The second item was the State Road 60 sunsetting of the interest share fee. That was originally placed under the county attorney's matters, and that should be moved to item 10A1 as a public hearing. That would be legislative in nature. Is there any other changes or additions to the agenda?
Move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion from Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Flesher. All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. With that, it's my pleasure to welcome to the chambers this morning our representative from the northern part of the county in the State Senate, Senator Thad Altman. Senator, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and it's a great honor to be here. I'll be brief. I wanted to let you know that I feel our region is in the process of suffering from a great injustice. And what's happening as it relates to the All Aboard Florida proposal is flies in the face of any reasonable standard in terms of allowing a region, a group of people, communities, businesses, homeowners associations, the ability to be a part of the process for good planning. As a matter of fact, the All Aboard Florida proposal takes everything we know about good transportation planning, and I know, being county commissioners, you know a lot about transportation planning. Takes everything we know about the way we plan our communities, we plan our region, and we plan our transportation infrastructure, and literally turns it on its head. It violates every principle that you can think of. And basically what's happened is we have a private provider who owns tracks and is seeking to provide rail service along this region, and a governmental entity in Orlando, the Orlando Expressway Authority, who has basically entered into an agreement, and that agreement between the Orlando Expressway Authority and All Aboard Florida basically says we have no voice, we have no input. Not only that, we are not allowed to even benefit in any way, shape, or form from this rail service. You're not allowed to stop anywhere from Jacksonville to Palm Beach County unless we, the Orlando Expressway Authority, gives you permission. I personally think that flies in the face of any reasonable interpretation of what should be allowed a government entity that we have no voice in, we have no appointments, we can't get elected, and a corridor basically from I-95 to the airport that has long been paid for. So that agreement basically says you're not allowed to stop anywhere from Jacksonville to Palm Beach County unless we, in our opinion, determine that it doesn't violate our bond covenants. And again, they're bond covenants for building transportation improvements that really have nothing to do with access to the airport. It'd be paramount if you used a freight rail analogy. If you had a port somewhere along our region and they wanted to provide port service, they would not be allowed to because the Orlando Expressway Authority says, no, we want to have all the freight service in our area. It just seems unfair. So I've asked the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to give an AGO opinion, Attorney General opinion, on the legality of that particular agreement. In particular in the exigent tax issue, where we, in a sense, are being taxed by an entity that has no authority. But I think it's even broader than that, and I've welcomed the opportunity for your county attorney to take a look at that agreement to see if there's even other principles that are violated. What I'd love for the county to do is to participate in that and to work with my office in any way, shape, or form, and other municipalities that are along our corridor. I've spoken with the city of Sebastian. They will be participating. I've spoken to numerous governments along the way. Some are willing, some are not. And it's not just from Cocoa to Palm Beach County. It's the corridor from Cocoa to Jacksonville as well, that we've been frozen out of this planning process. And that's pretty much my presentation, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator. I know that the City of Sebastian did pass a resolution supporting your request. I think we all received a copy of it. And I think what our action will be is at our next meeting, I'm sure one of the commissioners will put that resolution under their matters, and then we can take formal action on a similar type resolution.
Fantastic.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Flory, then Commissioner Fletcher.
Thank you, Senator Allman. I want to reinforce something the Senator said. The way you read the Orlando Authority Agreement and the way I read it are very much the same. It basically gives the Orlando Expressway Authority the option of allowing any stop between Orlando and West Palm Beach. But Mr. Reininger, when he was in Indian River County for a debate on this issue at the Taxpayers Association, basically said, no, that's not true, which for me is just another example of how disingenuous All Aboard Florida has been in this process. I think at the same luncheon, he once again reiterated the RIF loan at $1.6 billion, but now that we've got some heavily redacted documents back from the FRA, we see that million isn't 1.6, it's $1.875 billion. So the subsidy during the course of that loan moves from $3.1 billion to $3.6 billion. But again, incredibly disingenuous. And I think that is one of the great problems with All Aboard Florida. I mean, you've picked up on it, and I think most of the citizens of the Treasure Coast have. They've just been disingenuous all the way down the line, and I would really think that needs to stop. So I'll get off my soapbox now, and thank you very much for coming today, and look forward to supporting the resolution.
Commissioner Fletcher?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Senator, thank you so much for taking the time and working this pathway. As we discussed earlier, it's not the only pathway, but it's a critical one. And I believe that this commission, I anticipate that we will be embracing your concept and your document to go forward to Pam Bondi. Mr. Chairman, I realize it's a presentation giving the Senator great latitude. We're not making a motion, but we have a consensus that we will be asking the county attorney to review. And Senator, is there anything you would like to see further in that document?
Yes. I think having your legal counsel, which we met earlier, and I'm very impressed with the work they put into this issue. The tax issue is one, but I also believe that they've far exceeded their statutory authority as a governmental entity. And if they haven't, I intend on sponsoring legislation to rein in these type of authorities because it's wrong. It's wrong for the Orlando Expressway Authority to dictate to you how train service is going to be provided in your communities. That's just flat out wrong.
Well agreed, and I think that is the consensus, Mr. Chairman.
Senator, when you sponsor that that legislation, can you wrap in the Florida Municipal Power Association? Rein them in a little bit. That would be a good help also.
They're on the same corridor.
Commissioner Davis.
Yeah, and mine's similar to what Chairman O'Brien just had to say. And first of all, congratulations on your victory. We're certainly you're my senator for District 1, and I'm certainly looking forward to seeing you there for the next 4 years. But with that said, also, this is not unlike what I see that really concerns me with our government here in the state of Florida. And that is more of the regionalism approach, where you're having an unelected bureaucrat somewhere outside of your jurisdiction that the local people can't even get a hold of, much less vote in and out of office.
That's right.
And I'll equate that to a regional planning council, this expressway authority, and I haven't seen another one that I'm getting very skeptical of, and it's all under the guise of the lagoon. And whenever they're talking about creating another program and it's only $50,000 for everybody to get started, I'm not trying to get on my soapbox because I don't know a lot about it yet, but I smell a rat. And I don't think we need more of that. I just soon be accountable to the people in Indian River County, make the decisions here locally, just like you're talking about, and looking forward to your help in trying to keep it that way.
May I respond, Mr. Chairman?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Please.
You know, I smile because in this issue, we've had a program in the Regional Planning Council that represents Brevard, Orange, and the 5 counties in that region. And they've really been pushing myregion.org. I mean, it's a big effort, and it's our region, and let's get together and sing Kumbaya, and everybody gets excited. And then suddenly this train proposal, they throw my region out. It's you're subjects to us. You know, where's this whole regionalism working together, and everybody has a voice? This proposal completely flies in the face of all that, and it's basically making us subjects to an entity we have no authority over. It's like the taxation without representation argument. And
it's a trend. It's a trend that I see coming, and it really does concern me. And this board has we've gone head to head with our regional planning council on some issues as far as 750, and we're pretty adamant in our position on it, and I just see this as another example of it, and we certainly do appreciate your help in championing this issue, and we believe that the government closest to somebody's doorstep rules the best, because if somebody needs to get a hold of me, they can, and it's nice for you to come down here and be our state delegation and helping us with this.
Thank you.
And then Commissioner Zork.
Yes, thank you for bringing your efforts forward to us. We'll look forward to moving that resolution of support forward. Also want to thank you for your commitment to continue working with me on the Port Canaveral Ford Trade Zone issue in the upcoming session, and Port Commissioner Sullivan to help move that issue forward. That'll be a very important item for our county. And thank you for being down here today, and look forward to seeing you again in the future.
Thank you.
And I would be remiss not thanking you for your efforts to get the $20 million in last year's, or I guess the upcoming current year budget for muck removal in the central part of the lagoon. I think every scientist in the world has said getting that muck out of the lagoon is beneficial to seagrasses and everything else. So I want to thank you for your efforts to help secure that funding for the lagoon. So thank you. And I guess, Dylan, if you could, for next week's agenda, please bring this resolution up under your matters. And then if you could coordinate with Senator Altman's office for any additional wording or anything like that, and then we'll take action on it next Tuesday.
Absolutely, sir.
Is that concurrence with the board? Okay. Senator, thank you very much.
Thank
you.
You
look good in that orange tie, too.
Oh, thank you. And I certainly really appreciate what you're doing here for hunger. It's so important. I was involved in a meeting just last week where one of our local Rotary has targeted hunger for school kids. One of the leading reasons school kids do not perform academically is the lack of a good meal at home.
Right.
So, thank you so much. It's been a great honor to be here.
Thank you, Senator. We appreciate
Senator.
Next will be a presentation of a proclamation and retirement award honoring Richard D. Villers on his retirement from Indian River County Board of County Commissioners, Department of Emergency Services, Fire Rescue, with 25 years of service. And it looks like you have some family here. Would you like to invite them up to stand with you?
Sure. We call them the circus.
That might not be too popular on the way home.
Oh,
you fixed it.
Woo! You know, that's going to be a tough act to follow. I had to follow this proclamation.
I declare this meeting
What did I do? We need a break. I
had to follow the senator. What can I do?
Jeez. Holy moly. Well, that was very, very sweet. And probably very reflective of the service you've given the county. So we appreciate that. But let me go ahead and I'll read the proclamation, and we'll certainly be glad to hear some words from you. This is a proclamation honoring Richard D. Villers on his retirement from Indian River County Board of County Commissioners, Department of Emergency Services, Fire Rescue. Whereas Richard D. Villers has retired from Indian River County Fire Rescue effective September 3rd, 2014. And whereas Richard was employed as a paramedic with Indian River County since February 1st, 1989. On March 3rd, 1990, he was promoted to the rank of Assistant Supervisor with Indian River County Emergency Medical Services, and on October 1st, 2000, he was promoted to EMS Captain. After the EMS and fire consolidation in October 2005, Richard was reassigned as Senior Fire Medic. On January 22nd, 2010, he was promoted to Engineer Fire Medic and continued in this capacity until his retirement. Whereas Richard has served this county and the public with distinction and selflessness. During his 25 years of service, he was dedicated, and his work was greatly appreciated by the employer, citizens, and co-workers alike. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Indian River County, Florida, that the Board applauds Richard Villers' efforts on behalf of the county, and the Board wishes to express their appreciation for the dedicated service he has given to Indian River County for the last 25 years. And be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners and staff extend heartfelt wishes for success in your future endeavors. Adopted this 9th day of September, signed by myself as Chairman of the Board of County Commissioners. And then, Richard, this is the get out of jail one. This makes it official. So this is to certify that Richard D. Villers is hereby presented this retirement award for outstanding performance and faithful service to Indian River County Board of County Commissioners for 25 years of service, this 3rd day of September 2014, signed by John King, the Director of the Emergency Services District, and by myself as Chairman of the Board of County Commissioners. Richard, thank you for your service. Congratulations on your retirement. And tell us what you and the family are going to be doing for the next few years.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody on the board and the county commissioners. First of all, I mean, being a paramedic is a lot of work, and I have to first and foremost thank my family. My wife for 25 years, and the wife of a firefighter is probably the hardest job in the world because we're gone for 24 hours. So she's not only the mother, she's the father, she's the taxi cab, and she's the fix-it-all. So I really wanted to thank her very much, and I appreciate everything that she's done, and I don't know what she's going to do with all the time of me around. A couple other people I'd like to thank that I've made an impact in my career. The first person was Fire Captain Joe Orman. He's a true fire captain. He's a true professional. He gets to know the people that under his watch, the men and women, and I appreciate that, and he's also a friend. The second person I'd like to make a note was his former EMS Chief Jim Judge. He had a vision. He loved getting out in the public. He loved showing who we are and what we are, and I really appreciate him for that because it made a big impact on my career because I think the public and the people and the citizens of Indian River County are here for. I also like to thank my new employer. I'm going to be going to work at Indian River Shores Public Safety. I want to thank them for letting me continue my career.
Good for you.
Very good.
For you, buddy.
Very good.
That's great.
Commissioner Zork?
And I'll try to keep the razzing to a minimum, but But Rick and I go back, I think I was either on his first day on shift or probably his second over at 1729 17th Avenue, and that gorgeous kitchen we have with the green formica and the bunk room that slept 4 maybe.
It's at the Smithsonian now.
But we spent a lot of good times in that old building over the years. And when you brought up Jim Judge's name, he was one that had a vision of how to bring better medical care to the residents within the county, and kind of bringing the emergency room to the scene or wherever it happened to be. And we've really come a long way since that system was originally started. So thanks for all your years of service and for all the good times riding together over the years, and I'm sure we'll run into you again, maybe at your new location.
I just want to give one last call out to all the men and women that work for Indian River County Fire Rescue. We have a lot of great men and women. I know we're going through some contentious times right now. I hope the best for everybody, the department. I hope we can get through this, because I've had a wonderful career, and I want these people to have the same opportunity that I had. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you for your service, Rick.
Oh, no, the kids get out of school.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much for. Yeah, Sherry. How are you kids doing?
No school for the kids today, right?
No, they got to go to school.
Oh, we need a longer speech now.
Yeah, Rick, let's go down this way.
You want to come on up for a picture?
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's a couple more kids that are just not here today. They're in school, so.
Why don't you come on up right here?
Can I take them out for breakfast?
Yeah. He likes wearing those.
Watch it.
He's so good at it.
I know. Look at
Holy crap, I didn't know you had red shoes on.
Yeah, we're
Orange heel.
don't mention our orange ties and red shoes. Our wives get really upset at us. All right, good. Richard, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Nice to see you again.
Thank you, Chief. If you ever see me speeding in any of the shores.
If you're wearing red shoes, you're going to trouble.
Yeah, I know.
My heel got stuck.
That would be bad.
There was another pair back there in case somebody wants to sit down.
No, they have up. Where's our garbage can?
I still got blisters from last year.
John, they were for her.
Next will be a presentation of a proclamation designating the month of September 2014 as Attendance Awareness Month. And do we have Dr. Crawford from the school district here? Got a few folks. Good morning, welcome. Maria O'Brien with the Learning Alliance, good. Barbara, Carrie?
I'm glad to see they're all here.
You're all in attendance.
Good one. I'll go ahead and read the proclamation, then we'll hear a little bit about what you all are up to. This is a proclamation designating the month of September 2014 as Attendance Awareness Month. Whereas chronic absence, missing 10% or more of school for any reason, including excused and unexcused absences, or just 2 or 3 days a month, is a proven predictor of academic trouble and dropout rates. And whereas improving attendance and reducing chronic absence takes commitment, collaboration, and tailored approaches to particular challenges and strengths in each community. And whereas chronic absence predicts lower third grade reading proficiency, course failure, and eventual dropout. It weakens our communities and our local economy. And whereas schools and community partners can reach out more frequently to absent students to determine why they are missing from school and what would help them attend more regularly. And whereas chronic absence can be significantly reduced when schools, parents, and communities work together to monitor and promote good attendance and address hurdles that keep children from getting to school. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Indian River County, Florida, that the Board designates the month of September 2014 as Attendance Awareness Month. The board urges the community to commit to focusing on reducing chronic absenteeism to give all children an equitable opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive academically, emotionally, and socially. Adopted this 9th day of September 2014 and signed by all 5 county commissioners. Good morning, welcome, and tell us what we're going to do to attack this.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Torres Martinez, Director of Student Services with Dr. Tracy Crawford. She just received her doctorate, and we're very proud of that. Our lead social worker for attendance, Marie O'Brien from the Learning Alliance and Moonshot Moment, and Carrie Bartlett, one of the literacy leaders with the Moonshot Moment. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here on behalf of the school district and the families. Regarding attendance, we are honored and privileged that you have declared again for the 2nd year in a row attendance being Attendance Awareness Month. We know that everything that's said in the proclamation is crucial for academic success of our students. I really, would like to emphasize that we take September as Attendance Awareness Month, but that attendance every day, every minute counts for children to be in school in order for them to develop the skills they need to have a strong community and to be successful in life. So I hope and plead that everyone that listens to this proclamation really continues to advocate for school attendance, making sure that our kids are in school all the time so that they could meet all the standards that they have to meet, because this is what's going to make them productive members of society. So we are privileged, and on behalf of Dr. Adams and all the members of the Moonshot Moment, we thank you for being part of this initiative and for supporting attendance in our schools.
Good. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Doctor.
Congratulations on the doctor. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Doctor.
Did you all want a photo? You have somebody take a picture? Or? Okay. You want to just come right out in front here? Yeah. Quick and easy. Slide it down.
And you'll stand up better.
Got it? Very good. Thank you all very much.
Very efficient on the picture.
Next is a presentation of a proclamation recognizing the month of September 2014. Month of September 2014 is Hunger Action Month. This will be presented by Commissioner Flesher, and we have, there they are, and wearing their orange. Good, welcome, come on up. Hopefully this will finally explain to the people at home why we're all wearing orange ties up here together.
There's been a lot of question about the orange, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
and
sir.
anybody who knows Commissioner Davis, they know that he would not wear orange without blue. So I don't know what that's about, but
I'm not sure how good they're going to be yet this year.
we'll keep that on the down low.
Bob down here, too.
But yes, no, we all happen to be wearing orange in support of this great cause, and I see there's some orange scarves in the audience as well, and thank you all for being here. Good morning. I'd like to present the proclamation recognizing the month of September 2014 as Hunger Action Month. Whereas hunger and poverty are issues of grave concern in the United States and state of Florida, the Treasure Coast, and Indian River County. Whereas Indian River County is committed to taking steps to raise awareness about the need to combat hunger in every part of the county and to provide additional resources that the citizens of Indian River County need. Whereas Indian River County is committed to working with the Treasure Coast Food Bank in educating people about the role of the importance of food banks in addressing hunger and raising awareness of the need to devote more resources and attention to hunger issues. And whereas more than 97,640 individuals on the Treasure Coast and in Erie River County rely on the food provided by the Treasure Coast Food Bank annually. Whereas Treasure Coast Food Bank distributed more than 10 million meals in 2014, and through its network in food pantries, soup kitchens, shelters, and other community organizations. And whereas food banks across the country, including the Treasure Coast Food Bank, will host numerous events throughout the month of September to bring awareness and attention to encourage the involvement in effort to end hunger in their local community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Erie River County, Florida, that the Board recognizes the month of September 2014 as Hunger Action Month in Erie River County and calls this observance to the attention of our citizens. Duly adopted this 9th day of September 2014, signed by all 5 county commissioners. Thank you, ladies, and good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us. I'm Amber Valangas, and I'm the Chief Development and Marketing Officer for the Treasure Coast Food Bank. This is Lizette Morales and Samantha Cruz, also with the Food Bank. First, we'd like to say thank you very much to the Indian River Board of County Commissioners for issuing this proclamation that it is Hunger Action Month. And as all of you know, hunger is an issue that affects our county and our region deeply. In Indian River County, we do have 22,000 individuals that just don't know where their next meal is coming from on a weekly basis. Of that, we have 7,000 children that are struggling, and we talk about attendance, which is very important, and we do work with the school district as well on the issue of hunger, because we know that children cannot grow and thrive without having the food that they need to eat. So we are just very thankful for Hunger Action Month. We do want to say that though it is Hunger Action Month, the year through people are going hungry, and our efforts in conjunction with the county and the municipalities that we work with our over 200 partner agencies, we are working around the clock to make sure that no woman or child is going hungry. If people would like to know a little bit more about Hunger Action Month and how they can get involved, they can visit our website, which is stophunger.org. That's very easy to remember. We have a variety of different things that they can get involved in. Specifically, we've got some great social media campaigns going on where people can get involved by donating their profile, turning it orange, and just really bringing awareness to this issue. There are so many people that don't even understand that it is an issue in our country. They think that hunger is something that happens elsewhere, not to our neighbors, to our grandparents, to our veterans, to the people that are all around us. And the face of hunger has truly changed. People who previously had middle-of-the-range jobs, they have lost those jobs. We were hit, obviously, very hard when the economy kind of bottomed out. In that, we lost about 60% of jobs. The recovery has only really come back about 20% in those jobs. The recovery that we've seen really has come back in part-time and minimum wage. So that is making it harder and harder for people to put food on their tables. Again, we want to thank everyone for showing their support. We love to see all the orange ties, and I see some set a plate for Kate pins out there. If people want to find more information, please go ahead and contact us. We've got volunteer opportunities. We have a tour of our distribution facility on the 26th of September. And again, thank you very much for supporting Hunger Action Month.
Amber, thank you, and thank you for working so hard, the entire team and all of your volunteers, to ensure that there is great public awareness. I just wanted to remind some folks, maybe next time they're shopping and looking at others that are shopping. I know that when I was a little bit younger than I am now, there were carts that were, or buggies as they call them down here, that were full and mounded with food.
And if you look at your neighbor's carts as you're going to the checkout, you'll see that they are very shallow, and people cannot afford to have the right food. We talked about that earlier. The senator brought it up as well, about kids not being able to have a good meal in order to learn. And I just want to thank you, and I just want to remind all that next time you're in the supermarket, why don't you take a look around and you see how conservative people are shopping for food, not only the prices, just the abundance and value and what they can buy. So thank you very much for doing all you do.
Thank you for having us today, and thank you for your partnership.
Thank you, Amber.
Thank you.
Oh, we're getting a picture too, Amber.
Thank you, guys.
Nope, not at all.
Thank you so much.
Got it? Yep.
Sorry. So sorry.
Yep. That's good. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Next will be a presentation of a proclamation designating the month of October 2014 as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And this will be presented by Commissioner Zork, and Tracy Levy, the Director of Development, is here to receive it. Good morning. Welcome, Tracy.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Mr. Chairman, commissioners, and guests.
Hey, Tracy, let me have Commissioner Zork go ahead and read the proclamation, then we can hear your update.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. This proclamation has designated the month of October 2014 as National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Whereas each day in America, 4 women are murdered by their intimate partners, and whereas every 60 seconds in America, 4 women are abused by their intimate partners, and whereas 1/3 of all American women report being physically or sexually abused by a husband or boyfriend sometime during their lives, and whereas National Domestic Violence Awareness Month provides all Americans the opportunity to recommit to ensuring that every relationship be violence-free, and whereas that all domestic violence victims deserve a safe place where they can live with respect, resources, restoration, and justice, and whereas Indian River County Safe Space, Inc. joins forces with law enforcement, victim service programs, criminal justice officials, social service organizations, and concerned citizens throughout the county to fight domestic violence. And whereas, together with their commitment and compassion help to ensure that our community steps forward to lend a hand to domestic violence victims in need. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Indian River County Board of County Commissioners that the Board recognizes and honors the month of October 2014 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and furthermore expresses our sincere appreciation for those committed to promoting peace and preventing domestic violence in our community, adopted this 9th day of September 2014, signed by all 5 county commissioners. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Mr. Chairman, commissioners and guests, on behalf of the Safe Space Board of Directors, volunteers, staff, and most importantly, the victims and children whose lives we save and change every day, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Indian River County for recognizing October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Why is domestic violence awareness so important? Because 4 women die every day in this country at the hands of their intimate partners, and 1 in 3 will be a victim of domestic violence at some time in their lives. We need to acknowledge that domestic violence is a very real issue here on the Treasure Coast. As the first statistic I shared hit very close to home in the end of June, when 4 women from our local area were killed by the men that were supposed to love them. Last year, there were over 2,600 incidents of domestic violence in our 3-county service area, 581 of which occurred in Indian River County. That's almost 2 incidents of intimate partner violence each day right here in your own backyard. And these statistics become even more disturbing when you consider the number of cases that go unreported. Safe Space is the ultimate safety net for victims of domestic violence in our community, providing emergency shelter, outreach services, supportive living, counseling, and empowerment skills for women to create an independent life free from violence for themselves and their families. Safe Space is an educational resource and an advocate for those who cannot speak for themselves. We help victims become survivors. In its last fiscal year, Safe Space served 745 victims and children of domestic violence, processed 1,865 hotline calls, and provided 11,895 safe bed nights. I'm happy to report that today there are 42 women and children safe in our shelter and hundreds of others working with our advocates on an outreach basis. Domestic violence can happen to anyone. It could be happening right now to someone you know. Safe Space is here to help, but we need community support to meet our mission. Please join us on October 25th for our Walk a Mile in Her Shoes event at the Indian River Mall and step up against domestic violence with other good men of Indian River County. Special thanks to our commissioners for walking the walk last year and for wearing the red shoes here today. To Sheriff Lohr and his men for stepping up with us every year. And to all the good men who have and will join this cause. Why help Safe Space? Because abusers are deadly serious. Please become a lifesaver today by lending your voice and hopefully your feet to standing up against violence in any relationship. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. I know that last year myself and Commissioner Zork and our, at the time, very new county attorney, Dylan Reingold, all walked, and look forward to doing it again this year.
Thank you.
And, you know, this is very timely on a national level. A very prominent National Football League player just basically lost his job when a video was released showing him basically punching and knocking his wife out. Mm-hmm. And so it does happen in all phases of life, and certainly I know we would look forward to a day where we don't have to do this presentation if we can fix this. But thank you for your efforts, and I look forward to October to walking again.
Thank you.
Are we going to be in the mall inside again?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Good. Yeah.
Air conditioning helps.
Yeah, it does. So, anyone else?
I don't know, unless you have them bunions. It didn't hurt
I think for the picture, Detective Flowers, you got your shoes on yet? Well, you know, they don't do any good if you just hold them. You got to put them on. You want to come down for the picture? And Commissioner Davis, I think you and I should go down up front and show our shoes off here. Yeah. Tracy, come on up. We'll
Killing my feet though.
It's your calves that'll get you tomorrow.
What?
Yeah. Tracy, good to see you again. We got a.
I feel tall.
Great. How are you going to get a picture of the shoes and them at the same time?
Yeah, I got to see if I can move my leg up high enough. Thank you.
Here, I'll balance you. Hold on.
I'm not going to be able to get the shoes back
over
there.
here. Well, I think we do it here last year, or you want to take that first, and then we'll do one of these. Yeah, you get on the stairs behind Tracy.
Look at how well he walked.
We got to go back up.
Somebody who practices.
That was painful last year.
Is that going to work? Mm-hmm. What you got to do, Commissioner, you got to learn how to put that foot out there.
Kick step.
Pokey pokey and you turn yourself.
Rosie's having flashbacks to Dancing with Stars.
Teddy, where's your red shoes?
Well, I'm wearing one. I got a red skirt too. I had to give a sergeant though, man. I had to get Got him.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. You bet. Thank you. Tracy, thanks again. We'll see you October.
Good man.
won't fit my little roller skates this time.
Kicks that.
Nice to see you guys. Well,
Eric, good to see you.
okay. Well, what was scary last year is how well Dylan moved in them. Dylan was he was all over with those shoes.
I think he finished first or second. I was close to last.
Okay, that felt good.
You right now? A little ice?
Okay. There's no minutes to approve. There's several informational items. I'd like to draw attention to one. We do have a vacancy on our Economic Development Council for a local industry representative. So if anyone is interested in serving on the Economic Development Council, please contact our office for the application. And Commissioner Slaughter, I think there's an item you might want to just cover for a minute.
There is. Thank you very much. September is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, and in recognition, the Treasure Coast Cancer Alliance invites the community to its 9th annual Ovarian Cancer Candlelight Vigil to honor the women who lost their battle with ovarian cancer and those who are currently fighting the battle. The vigil will take place Sunday, September 21st at 5 p.m. at our Savior Lutheran Church at 1850 6th Avenue in Vero Beach. If anybody would like more information about this, please feel free to call me at 226-1438. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Slaughter. That now takes us to the consent agenda. Gentlemen, anything you wish to pull?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item K Kilo.
Okay. Anyone else?
Move to approve as amended.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Flesher to, is there anyone from the audience that wishes to have a consent agenda item pulled for additional discussion? Anyone from the audience? Okay, we do have a motion from Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Flesher. All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries unanimously. Commissioner Flesher, item K, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The consent agenda item is the conditional approval of the request for the use of Holman Stadium for Step Up America Heroes Appreciation Festival to be held December 6th. With us today is Gary James from the American Security Council, and I believe that it was in order to have a brief presentation as we are authorizing the use of the People's Stadium for an unbelievably worthwhile cause, and I've been excited since the time in which Gary and Dr. Fisher had discussed having this type of event here, and things have now developed where some of the acts are all formulating, and without further ado, before we approve this, Gary James from the American Security Council.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. I'd like to thank you for having us here today on behalf of the American Security Council Foundation and our Senior Advisory Board. I'd also like to introduce Master Chief Petty Officer of the United States Navy SEALs, Ken Corona. I've invited Ken to come in here today. The American Security Council, after the Boston bombing, and if you look on the monitor, you see we came up with a program called Step Up America. It is an educational program that we're taking out to middle schools, up through high schools, into your social clubs, the Rotaries, the Elks, BFWs, things of that nature. It's benefiting today in a way that we have a member of Indian River County that's retiring after 25 years. And that's what the portion that we're working on and we're asking permission to do this concert's all about. It's the awareness of what the 1% of the country does for the other 99. That's your U.S. military, the ones that take the oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. It's the 2.8% of the men and women in Florida that actually protect the MT people, the law enforcement, that protect all the members, all the citizens of Florida, and the people that come here on vacation every year. So with that in mind, we wanted to do something here. On our first event, we've asked to use Holman Stadium to put on a concert. the proceeds of that concert, we picked the Trident House, and that's why I asked Master Chief to be here today with me. The U.S. Navy Trident House that's in Sebastian. It's a refuge for the families of special warriors that have lost their lives in combat. Also, special warriors coming back that need to decompress, get a break from the rigors of combat. We're also giving scholarships out to members of to the children of active duty military, veterans, law enforcement, and first responders. And I think it's important that we do this. You see many other agencies giving out to veterans or giving out to other individuals. I think it's important that we take care of the children of the people that are out doing this hard work. Ken, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Thank you for having us, gentlemen. The Trident House is, as Gary says, up in Sebastian, and it's about 80% occupied all the times. We recently had like Dorothy Woods, Ty Woods' widow, and her young child here not too long ago. He was in Benghazi, SEAL that had gotten out of the Navy and was working over there. And guys from Afghanistan and Iraq come down, and we not only SEALs, but we also do special force, all special forces, Rangers, Delta Force, whoever. We let them use that house, and it's great. So obviously it costs money, and we're a nonprofit organization, and so great Americans that donate to us. So we think this is a great venue that would help the Trident House out in the future. So we really appreciate the opportunity here. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. It's a privilege and honor to have you in this room. I can assure that everyone in the room feels that way. We appreciate what you've done for our nation, and we're excited about this whole event. And with the board's indulgence, I believe we'll have a subsequent presentation as well to ensure that there is full attendance. I think the citizens of Indian River County, and I believe they'll be coming from other counties, knowing the acts that are coming forward for this great event, and to know that they can help the veterans just by coming. And they'll have a great time. The entertainment should be a full day of really quality kind of entertainment that the people deserve and the benefit that you all deserve. So then, thank you very much. Gary, you have anything else about the event?
I would like to say the event does take place on December the 6th. It's Saturday at Holman Stadium. The gates will open at 3 o'clock. We're having the opening ceremonies taking place at 4:30, 16:30, Master Chief. And after that, we have 3 acts booked. We have an opening act, a prominent bluegrass act out of Nashville. After that, we have a younger country act. Up-and-coming young man plays great country music. His name is J.T. Hodges. And then the feast for the evening is the Band Perry. The Band Perry is a very well-known country music group that it's taken country music by storm. We were lucky to get them. December is normally end of touring. They normally quit touring about mid-October, November. And we were lucky enough to get them the first week of December. So we're really happy, really excited. Happy that all the members of the commission and Mr. Baird and Mr. Zito have helped us along the way, Mr. Cowell out of Dodgertown, and all of his staff. We've got nothing but 100% support. We do appreciate it, and we just look forward to putting on a great show, having a great event, and raising money for what we think are some really good causes. And with that, I'm done.
Thank you, Gary.
Very good.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Flesher, second by Commissioner Davis, to approve the Holman Stadium use agreement. All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Great. Jim, I'd like to invite you all down to the museum as well. Everybody here in the building, we're in North Hutchinson Island, and please come down. We'd love to give you a personal tour, myself or Rick Kaiser. We'd love to see you there.
That's good. Rick's healing up good then?
Say it again?
Rick's healing up good?
Oh, he is. Yeah,
good.
He is. He's fine. He's back. He's jumping again, so he's all fine. In fact, he's out of the area, so he sent me down there this morning. I'm sorry for the casual dress. I kind of popped in on you, gentlemen, but appreciate your time. Appreciate everything you guys are doing for the county.
Thank you.
Thank you. We do not have any constitutional officer items, so we'll move into public hearings. We did move an item from the county attorney's matters up to a public hearing, and this is the State Road 60 interest share fee sunset date ordinance. This memorandum is dated August 26, 2014. This public hearing is legislative in nature. And with that, Mr. Reingold, will you start us off?
Thank you very much to the chair of the commission, everyone in the audience, and those watching at home. On July 1st, the Board of County Commissioners voted to terminate the State Road 60 interest fee as of October 1st, 2015. In an attempt to provide certainty to applicants, I thought it was best to codify this into our ordinance code. Therefore, the County Attorney's Office had drafted this ordinance establishing a sunset date of September 30th at 5 o'clock on 2015. At this point, I recommend that the chair open up the public hearing, take input from the public, close that public hearing, and I recommend that the board approve the attached ordinance. I recommend one small change. Although in the body of the ordinance it says September 30th at 5 p.m., in the title of the ordinance it says October 1st. That was a change that was made as the ordinance was being drafted, but after the notice had been published. So I simply just recommend that the board approve the ordinance with that small modification of the title. And with that, I turn it back over to the chair.
Okay, so you want to modify the title to reflect September 30, 2015?
Yeah, at 5 o'clock. Thank you, sir.
Very good. Okay, with that, we'll open up the public hearing. Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak to this matter?
One at a time.
Okay.
There's two podiums.
Joe? Okay, anyone from the public that wishes to speak? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Gentlemen?
Mr. Chairman, I'll be happy to move this staff recommendation with the change of the title to September 30th at 5 p.m.
Thank you, Commissioner Fleury. Is there a second?
Second. Just a quick comment, Mr. Chairman. I have one as well.
Okay.
If I just
Davis?
Just want to kind of compliment our staff working with the legislative delegation to make this whole project work as far as what we had to do. It was very creative. For those of you who don't know, we had issues as far as concurrency on the section of State Road 60 between 66th Avenue and 95, and was looking at some issues as far as people being able to pull building permits because of it. Working at the time with Representative Mayfield, if I'm not mistaken, Stan Mayfield, not Debbie, and we got creative, got some money, got it done. And it was a little bit painful in the process, but it was some creative thinking to be able to make that hurricane evacuation route 6 lanes, as well as a good, safe highway. Good job.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Zork?
Yes, I have a question. Once we adopt this today, if for some reason to the public benefit we wish to move the date earlier, I know there's some opportunities that the county may be participating in the near future, potentially, that as not to have this fee in place being a hindrance to that opportunity. And I'm kind of, since I only know a portion of what it is, I'm calling it an opportunity because I don't know officially it hasn't been officially named yet, but would we have the ability to revisit this and move the date up? And if so, how would we do that?
I think we've got to be careful with that. That was a rate. We hired a consultant to come up with a rate, and I think we can't just, and we're sunset, but we've got to be careful we're not arbitrary. That's where we'll get in trouble with those that have already paid it.
All right.
Just, Commissioner Zork, if I may, I think with where you're wanting to go on this is if there is an economic development opportunity that this might affect, I think the best thing is that as a board we have the authority to make a decision that if we think it's a worthwhile project that we could then, we can't waive the fee, but we could certainly say that we would pay the fee out of some source of revenue as an economic development incentive. Okay. And I think that would probably be the most appropriate way to address one specific case and then to keep trying to juggle the ordinances. But we do have that authority to, at any time, we can make a decision like that if we think it's in the best public interest. So that would be my recommendation of how we handle that.
Okay, good. And I didn't know how to properly address it since it's unnamed.
Well, you rookie commissioners, you still got another year or two to learn. Unlike the senior commissioner over here or the or the other senior commissioner down there.
So we want to make sure we're perceived as open, friendly, and happy to have whoever the unnamed group is to come here. And we worked hard to get the commercial fees lowered, especially some of the larger facility fees lowered. So to lower them and have this be a potential thing that then raises those back up again was just a concern that I had.
Yep. Okay. All right, so I believe we had a motion from Commissioner Slaughter, second from Commissioner Davis. Is there any discussion from the audience on this? We already had the public. Okay. All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries 5-0. That concludes public hearings. We now move to public discussion items. The first item is a request to speak from Lang Sykes regarding the Oslo boat ramp expansion project. Good morning. Welcome. If you could give your name and address just for the record, please.
Yes, good morning. Lang Sykes, 836 Riamar Drive, 32963. Thank you for your time, gentlemen. I'm here on behalf of those who do not yet have a voice to represent themselves. Not just the fish, but future generations of youth who, unlike myself and those before me, will lack the true privilege and God-given right to experience in person the most biologically diverse estuary in the Northern Hemisphere. I recall fondly as a boy stories of my grandfather accompanied by Polaroid photos for proof, an ecosystem and fishery far different than the one we as a community enjoy today. Meadows of seagrasses covered every square inch of river bottom that provided enough natural sunlight for photosynthesis to occur. Snook and tarpon so abundant that one need only hook a single white feather to trigger a reaction bite from those and many other native gamefish species. As a young man growing up on the lagoon, my memories of this ecosystem differ, unfortunately, from those in recent past. The population of our state is rapidly growing, as is the burden placed on this priceless ecosystem. Now more than ever before, we must work together to reduce and ultimately end the myriad of factors contributing to the overall degradation of this lagoon ecosystem. No one person, group of people, elected representatives, association, or government body can do this alone. Public education and astute awareness will be the driving force behind preserving this priceless resource. Our youth of today are working tirelessly to bring awareness to their peers and those who have enough respect to listen that we are on the precipice of losing this resource. The children take science classes, they learn about the scientific method, collection of data, and accurate sets, and how to form a conclusion. Our community owes a debt of gratitude to those who have dedicated their lives to understanding how and why this ecosystem works the way it does. Many wise men and women have understood that to be leaders, they need not be the smartest, but surrounded by those smarter than themselves. I respectfully ask you, commissioners, leaders in our community, to do the same. Look north and south to know the devastation the lagoon has suffered. We are one of the remaining sections with habitat left to support the start of life, not just for our invaluable gamefish species, which contribute so greatly to our local and state economy, but to the value of our real estate and those who live here, the opportunity to enjoy this precious resource. We know as a scientific fact that the 1,000-square-foot estuarine area located at the end of Oslo Road is one of only 2 locations in the entire eastern seaboard where our foremost economically significant species of gamefish, spotted sea trout, snook, tarpon, and red drum, come every year to recruit. We also know as a fact that the seagrass meadows surrounding the Oslo site are among the most prolific left in the lagoon. The county has argued the need to pave the road to the launch site in order to curb runoff that is damaging seagrasses. If this were in fact the case, the existing meadows would not be among the most prolific left in the lagoon. If you don't believe me, you need only stick your head in the water and open your eyes. None of the reasons the county has argued for expansion of this site at the taxpayers' exorbitant expense are based on preserving or bettering the environment in question. They are certainly not based on the overwhelming majority of public opinion. Why then the motivation to do it? Why apply for a maintenance dredging permit out 210 feet from the base of the ramp when the only permit for any kind of dredging issued June 30th, 1977 by the State of Florida Department of Environmental Regulation granted the county to, and I quote, maintenance dredge an existing channel excavating 100 cubic yards of dredge material. The current scope of the ramp only allows access for very small skiffs, kayaks, and john boats. If the ramp itself is not being altered to accommodate larger vessels, it makes absolutely no sense for the need to dredge out 210 feet, a far greater distance than has ever existed or been permitted in history. There is a compromise to be made by the county and with the general public. I would encourage the Commission to table this initiative before any irreparable damage is done to this invaluable site. On March 14, 1903, without fanfare, President Theodore Roosevelt signed an executive order establishing Pelican Island, part of the lagoon which you are all familiar with, as the first federal bird reservation. President Roosevelt once said, "If in a given community unchecked popular rule means unlimited waste and destruction of natural resources, soil, fertility, water power, forest, game, wildlife generally, which by right belong as much to subsequent generations as to the present generation, then it is sure proof that the present generation is not really fit for self-control, that it is not yet really fit to exercise the high and responsible privilege of rule, which shall, both by the people and for the people." The term "for the people" must always include the people unborn as well as the people now alive, or the democratic ideal is not realized. President Roosevelt's words are as poignant now as they were and will continue to be long after we're gone. Let's not let the future of this lagoon be told as a story of death by 1,000 cuts. I respectfully ask the Board of County Commissioners to do the right thing and pass a motion today to table this project for both the people and the fish. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sykes. Mr. Sykes, before we step down, I had a couple questions for you.
Yes, sir.
On the Pelican Island Audubon Society website is a video titled "Ozo Boat Ramp Proposed Dredging Site," and you are listed of the author of that video, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then in the June version of the 32963 periodical, you are quoted in regarding the video as saying absolutely 99% of the footage in the video was filmed in the area that will be dredged. Is that a correct quote?
I took a measurement, sir, from the foot of the boat ramp out 210 feet with a actual rule and started videoing just outside and working my way into the launch ramp site. So the majority of that video is in fact within the proposed dredging site. And as you can see, the prolific nature of the seagrass as well as the other indigenous species of fish are present.
Okay. Well, Mr. Sykes, I don't know how you measured or what you did, but quite frankly, your video is a sham. It is not in the area that is going to be with the muck removal, and I'm going to show you right now how far off you are, okay? So, Scott, if you could please call up the survey, please, and Bill, could you come do the... So first of all, this is a certified survey done by Carter and Associates. It is they are a 100-year firm here in the county. This is a certified survey. And so, Bill, could you please show where the proposed muck removal on this slide is, please? The area within the black dotted lines, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then also on that survey, there is a cluster of pilings. Bill, could you show, not the channel markers, the other pilings?
The pilings are back here, I believe.
No, they're to the north, kind of towards the end there. To your right, Bill. Go to the right, right there.
Okay. I gotcha.
Those are the remnant pilings of an old commercial fish house that used to be down there at Ozo Boat Ramp. And Bill, those pilings are located outside the dotted line, is that correct?
That's correct.
And so those pilings would be located outside of the proposed muck removal, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Bill, there's also some existing channel markers. Could you please show the audience where those channel markers are on that screen? There's a red marker, number 12.
Yes. And then there's some more out here.
Right. So right above, that's the green channel marker, and
Right
above that is the red channel marker.
correct.
Now, Bill, there's distances located on that certified survey. The proposed muck removal goes out, I believe, to about 210 feet.
Yes, that's right there.
Okay. And then the channel markers, I believe they're out there at about 280 feet. Is that correct?
Yeah, another 70 feet out.
Another 70 feet. So the channel markers themselves are 70 feet from the end of the muck removal. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Scott, if you could now please put up the beginning of the video. Okay, this is the beginning of the video, and just leave it pause here for a minute, that Mr. Sykes claims that he filmed showing that everything following this video is in the area of the proposed dredging. You can clearly see the two channel markers there, the red one on the right, the green one on the left. Now keep in mind that those channel markers already are 70 feet from the edge of the proposed work area. Looking at this video, I'm guessing this is another 40, 50 feet further seaward of the proposed work area. And Mr. Sykes, this is your video. You are approximately 120 feet from the end of the proposed work area. So can you please explain to me how you can claim that your video is in the proposed dredging area?
Commissioner O'Brien, thank you. This was shot with a wide-angle GoPro camera underwater, and it makes the perspective look far greater away from where it's actually taken. I made this video to give those who do not have an opportunity to get out and see the underwater environment an opportunity to see what's at stake here. And regardless of any claims of whether or not this in its entirety falls within the proposed dredging site, it clearly illustrates the health of the seagrasses, which will be disturbed by aggrandized boat traffic coming in and out of the launch site.
Okay,
That's
Mr.
the
Sykes,
purpose of this
that was
video.
not your quote. Okay, your quote is 99% of the video is filmed in the area that will be dredged. Okay, that's a flat-out lie.
It's
and
not
now
a
you're
lie,
changing your
sir.
story.
It's a 5-minute and 22-second video, and the majority of the video is shot within the site. As you can see, I'm swimming
It is not in the area that is to be dredged. And we'll go ahead and run the video, because the first minute you come up, you're still past the channel markers.
I would love for you to show the video. It'll
Okay,
give
let's
the
show it.
public a chance to
And you
see
tell me- you
the
tell me-
underwater environment here.
You tell me exactly when we're in the proposed dredging area.
I'd be happy to do
Okay?
that.
Go ahead and run the video. Just, gentlemen, look at the segue here, too, as this transitions underwater. Notice that it's a several-second transition, because later I'll point out where this was cut and edited as well. So is this in the proposed dredging area, Mr. Sykes?
No, it's not, sir.
Okay.
I think, though, that the need to scrutinize the video, unfortunately, is an example of not addressing the real issue here of what's at stake.
Now, the real issue is people being truthful with what they say. And when the president of Pelican Audubon Society gives false information 3 times under oath in sworn testimony, that's the problem.
First of all, sir, I'm not the president of the Pelican Island Audubon Society.
Misinformation.
That's not my title or position.
It says proposed dredging site. That's your title.
I understand that that's
All right,
the video.
So here, stop it, please.
Are you saying that
We're still outside the channel markers, Mr. Sykes, so how can you say this is in the proposed dredging area?
You asked me to tell you when it comes within the 210 feet. I said I would do so, and it has not yet. So I
Okay,
will
so
do
over
that.
a minute has gone by, and we're not in the proposed dredging
But
area.
again,
Is that correct?
I would like to point out that I am not the president of the Pelican Island National Wildlife Society, nor did I give any of those statements under oath. As you said yourself, that's to 32963 magazine. I gave them a great deal of information, and that's what they chose to publish.
And that was your quote. 99% is in the area that will be dredged. We've already gone a minute, so 20% of this is not. So how can you say 99%? How can you say 99% when 20% already is outside the area?
Again, the purpose of this video is to show the general public what's at stake in this particular area.
That is not how you promote. Look at proposed dredging site right there on the title of the video.
Yes,
So go ahead
this is
and-
a proposed dredging site.
This is not. This is outside the proposed area of work, sir.
Is this not still considered a site at which dredging will occur?
Mr. Chairman, I think this conversation's gone off a little task. If you want to watch the video, let's watch the video, but I don't think it's appropriate for the chairman and our guests to have a tit-for-tat back and forth. Thank you.
I'll just say that this is not the dredging site where this video is shot under the water. Go ahead and keep running it. I think just also for the record, both our consultant and the St. John seagrass experts have this seagrass coverage as 0 to 30%, which is certainly not great. It's pretty sparse, actually. So just keep that in mind.
My comment to that, Commissioner O'Brien, would be that I would have hoped the county would have used a more rigorous method for surveying the area of seagrass rather than the quadrant test.
Well, the quadrant test is the standard in the scientific industry. So I don't know what else you want us to do, but
I would have liked for the entire area to have been mapped.
St. John's people have 18 years. Okay, so here we are, right off of those the remnant pilings of the old fish house, and again, the certified survey that we showed that these pilings are outside the area that the dredging will take place. So, Mr. Sykes, again, if you could just pause that. Scott, just back it up to the surface shot. Okay, so again, are we in the area of the proposed dredging?
The dredging starts within the concrete piling, sir.
It does not. Scott,
I said within, west of the concrete piling.
Scott, could you put the survey back up? There are the pilings, Mr. Sykes. They are outside the black dotted line, so they are outside the area of the proposed dredging.
Maybe you're misunderstanding what I said. If you go back to the frame of the video that you paused it on,
yes.
I said the proposed dredging site occurs within, west of the piling where the Pelican is sitting.
Well, you're wrong there because, again, it's not due west of the piling. It's south of the piling. But, again, we're now at 2 minutes, so we're at 40% of the video is not in the proposed dredging area. So go ahead and keep running it. And there we're right again by the pilings, which are outside the proposed dredging. So are we in the actually proposed dredging area yet, Mr. Sykes?
No, sir. Again, the purpose of this video is to illustrate to the general public who do not have access to underwater footage to see the significance of this area as a juvenile fish recruitment site.
And Mr. Chairman, I mean, we've gone beyond what we normally do here. I mean, generally speaking, we let one person have their say and then the other person have their say. It's not. I don't think it's appropriate this time for us to have this sort of antagonistic back and forth.
Well,
I think
Commissioner, I'm tired of the
no,
misinformation
but I'd like
being
to.
put
I understand. That's why I think it's. If you want to give your side, that's fine. But I think that at this point the back and forth is inappropriate. I'd be happy to sit and watch the rest of the video and you give yours and have Mr. Sykes give one last response. But I don't think it's helping anybody to have a repetitive back and forth, antagonistic chat.
Well, I think it's important that the facts come out, Commissioner. And I'm tired of the misinformation, the false testimony under sworn oath. It's just time to put all this to end. And as far as Mr. Sykes' comments about bigger boats, we've provided evidence that the ramp cannot physically launch larger boats. The St. Johns River now here, I'll admit, right there you're in the area. And it looks pretty cruddy to me.
Sir, I take offense to the fact that you say I lied under oath. You were not present.
No, Dr. Baker did.
Well, you're speaking to me, so it sounds as if you're accusing me of lying under oath, and I certainly don't appreciate that.
I did not mean that. I think your statement, your quote in 32963 is not true.
My statement that I said earlier, sir, about the site's inability to launch a larger craft is to my point, which is why dredge out that far if we don't have the ability to launch a larger craft?
Because the channel is filled with muck. And Senator Altman secured $20 million for muck removal because muck is bad for the lagoon and seagrasses. Mark Perry of the Florida Oceanographic Society says muck is harmful to the lagoon and seagrasses. Dr. John Telfrey with Florida Institute of Technology said when you remove the muck, seagrasses can take root. So the county views the muck removal as a benefit to the lagoon.
You and I are not in disagreement that muck is a malevolent factor to the overall health of the lagoon system. My argument is that the dredging goes far beyond where the muck actually exists, sir.
Well, okay, and you say that, but we have surveyed it, we have walked it, we have taken samples, and where we are working is all where the muck is.
Well, you and I are in disagreement about that then.
Well, I guess so, but you know, your video was not in the area where we're removing muck, so I don't think you have a basis to say what we're removing because your video is outside the area of where we're working.
If you're basing everything on the video and not taking into account everything else that's been said, I think that's unfortunate. There are numerous peer-reviewed scientific studies that show the significance of this site. And I agree, Commissioner Solari, I don't want to take up any more time of this public forum here. And I thank you all for hearing me today. And I do encourage you to make a motion to table this because the overwhelming majority of this community does not want this project to happen. So please, I encourage you to make another motion and hopefully some of your courageous commissioners here will second you.
At this point, Mr. Sykes, I've done it a couple times and it's really not appropriate for the one who failed on the motion to reinstitute it. So there'll probably be a time in the future when there'll be an opportunity to do it, which I will, but today's not the day.
Well, I thank you again for doing it in the past, and I hope you do bring up that motion in the future and table this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Next to speak is request to speak from Kristen Beck with the Florida Outdoor Center regarding the expansion of the Oslo boat ramp. Is Ms. Beck here? We'll reserve her time if she shows up. Next to speak is request to speak from Paris Westbrook regarding the Oslo boat ramp expansion project. Good morning. Welcome. Your name and address for the record, please.
Good morning. My name is Paris Westbrook. I own a home and live at 1955 3rd Street in Vero Beach. First, I want to thank you for allowing me give you some thoughts regarding the boat ramp and also some general things about the lagoon. I want to thank you also collectively and individually for your public service and facing all of this. Okay. In preparing my presentation today, I did some research using commonplace tools such as Google and YouTube. I also searched the archives of local publications, including Vero Beach Press Journal, Inside Vero, and Vero Beach 32963, for anything I could find on the boat ramp and any of the considerations you've made about improving it. Note I put the word improvements in my handwritten thing here in quotation marks. My research took me back to 2008 and 2011 via an article published, I think it's been referenced already today, article published by Vero Beach 32963 in October of 2011. It was like reading a sinister novel replete with undue influence, selfish business interests, fraudulent letters of project support, and a hidden agenda by the then Indian River Commission. He presented quite a few arguments on why expanding, and quote again, improving the Oslo boat ramp was a good idea. It also provided counter-arguments from community leaders and environmental scientists. I found that since its publication, there has been a significant decrease in the numbers of individuals, businesses, organizations supporting the improvement idea. And in my opinion, even more important, a substantial growth in the number of those opposing it. Yes, although in the minority, there are those who, for reasons I don't fully understand, still want to pursue this project. If you explore YouTube videos, you will find Chairman O'Brien's interview with Mark Schumann of Inside Vero. He eloquently touts why the Oslo project is a good idea. But in my not too humble opinion, and with due respect, I feel that his video testimony is upended by those of Corey Westbrook, Richard Baker, and Susan Boyd. Excuse me. Corey Westbrook speaks of the unnecessary risks and costly and ineffective mitigation ideas that might be adopted should the project be approved. Dr. Baker, in his incomparable science-based reasoning, speaks on how the proposed changes to the boat ramp would irreparably harm our invaluable life-sustaining seagrass. And my favorite video for purposes of making a point here is that by Susan Boyd. Notwithstanding Ms. Boyd's outstanding breakdown of the project's components and how each has its own negative effects, she espouses many of the scientists and public and private agencies and organizations that are vehemently opposed to this project. My question here is, where is the offsetting groundswell of those endorsing it? My answer and point here is there isn't one. Further looking for the non-existent groundswell, I invite you to explore editorials, staff reports, and in particular guest columns and letters to the editor concerning the Oslo boat ramp published online over the last few months at TC Palm by the Vero Beach Press Journal. They are all against the boat ramp project. And interestingly, online comments are noticeably absent of any disagreement. As important as it is to protect the water and seagrass near the Oslo boat ramp, it is an integral part of an even greater natural resource in need of protection, and that's our Indian River Lagoon. As you know, the Indian River Lagoon is part of the longest barrier island complex in the United States, occupying more than 30% of our east coast. The Indian River Lagoon system spans 156 miles from Ponce de Leon and the Mosquito Lagoon to Jupiter. Besides Indian River County, it runs along our coastline neighbors, Brevard, St. Lucie, and Martin counties. Thanks to the passion, persistence, and hard work of thousands of concerned citizens and students, county and city governments, congressional representatives, science-based research institutions, and a myriad of nonprofit collaborating organizations, all under the banner of, quote, Save the Lagoon, the plight of the lagoon is being addressed. Small steps to return it to former health are starting to see positive results. These include reductions in fertilizer pollutants as a result of recently passed ordinances by municipalities and counties up and down the coast. Your passing of what is called a strict fertilizers ordinance is part of this undertaking, and I and the public thank you for doing so. So what does the Oslo boat ramp project have to do with this? By your rejecting it, you will not only be protecting this small piece of paradise, you will be taking yet another meaningful step to save the lagoon. And by doing so, you will be saving our home and property values. You will be protecting our low taxes. You will be saving our tourist industry. You will be saving our water recreation. You will be saving our fishing industry. You will be saving businesses and jobs. You will be saving our biggest economic driver. And you'll be saving our way of life. I implore you to reject the Oslo boat ramp project currently under consideration. I implore you to help save the lagoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Westbrook. I saw Ms. Beck come in. Is she still here? Kristen? Yep. Welcome. Your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Kristen Beck. I'm the executive director of A Florida Outdoor Center, our nonprofit organization that connects people to nature through outdoor activities, including kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding, birding, and running in the outdoors. And I'm here to oppose the Oslo boat ramp on behalf of our organization. We take people outdoors to see our environment, and I've been speaking for the past couple of years on the degradation of the health of the lagoon, and you guys have taken steps on helping improve the health of the lagoon, but I feel like the Oslo boat ramp would be a huge, giant step back. It is one of the few areas where we do have healthy grass beds. I take people out off of Sebastian, off of Wabasso, off of Pelican Island National Wildlife Refuge, and we've seen the grass beds declining over the past few years. Oslo and Round Island are some of the areas where there are still thick grass beds, where the manatees are grazing, where the juvenile fish are there in numbers, where the bird populations are resting and breeding and nesting on the spoil islands. There's been a decline in my bird observations, which I keep a journal of, in the Sebastian area and in the Vero area, but I'm seeing them down in the Oslo area and the Round Island area. It is my outdoor classroom. I take people out there. That's my livelihood, is to get people outdoors, to connect them with nature. And that is a great classroom down there. Not only with the improvement of the boat ramp, which I don't think it would be an improvement at all, it would not only diminish the grass beds in the area, but the mangroves. By plowing that area and building a parking lot, you're going to be destroying some really pristine mangrove fish rookeries. There are several studies that area is a very productive rookery for tarpon, for snook, and those are fish that bring lots of money to the area. There's a lot of fishing guides out here. Recreational fishing is a big industry in this area. So I would really strongly advise to not move forward with the Oslo boat ramp improvements, but really spend more time focusing on improving the overall health of the lagoon. Education on runoff, trying to mitigate some of the effects of the runoff that's degrading the Indian River Lagoon. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Beck. That concludes public discussion. Public notice items. Mr. Dillon, would you, or Mr. Reingold, would you do the honors, please?
Oh, Mr. Dillon will do just fine. Just wanted to read off our one public notice item, the notice of scheduled public hearing to be heard on September 16, 2014. This is Kenneth J. and Claire K. LaPointe's request for special exception use approval to modify the rear yard setback for the lots adjacent to the Marsh Island PD Marina lots 21 to 28. This is a quasi-judicial item, again, to be heard on September 16, 2014, and I turn it back over to the chair.
Thank you. And Dylan, I'm going to turn it right back to you. There's no departmental matters, so we'll go right into county attorney matters. First item is authorization to participate in the petition for a rule challenge against the Florida Department of Juvenile Justice, memorandum dated September 3rd, 2014.
Thank you very much, Chair. And with this, actually, we'll have Kate Kottner from my office who will present this item.
Good morning. Welcome, Kate, and nice scarf.
Thank you. I'll give a big shout out to Dory, who is my personal stylist for the day. Good morning to everyone. This has to do with Department of Juvenile Justice. The litigation continues. We, meaning the counties, about 25 counties are participating in a rule challenge, including Florida Association of Counties. So we are being represented as a separate note, but this issue I'm bringing before the board today to see if we want to participate just a little bit more. There's really three options. One is to continue with status quo, and if they're successful at the rule challenge, we will benefit from it. The second option is to give $1,000 in legal fees just to, I guess, show a unified front of camaraderie, which I think will be beneficial with the upcoming legislative session. If you say 25 counties have participated in litigation, but 10 more, 15 more counties also contributed financially to this litigation, I think it would go over very well. And the third option is to file for a petition to intervene. Duval County at this point is going to intervene. I spoke with Carly Schrader from the Neighbors Law Firm yesterday, and she said that if we are interested, she will certainly put our names down on that petition to intervene. So at this point, and here
what would intervening entail? Is that where we would have like our own lawsuit and working through that, or?
It would basically be just to preserve our rights. I mean, we would not have the full status as as the petitioner. We've learned that from other lawsuits that we've been involved in, but it would at least preserve our rights. With the rule challenge, however, I don't think it's necessary to intervene. We will benefit either way. It's not like we're challenging the calculation, which when that does happen, I do think I'll be right here again asking you guys to give me permission to actually file a petition.
Okay, so then I guess the answer to my question is, for the county to be in the strongest possible position would be to participate in the rule challenge and contribute the $1,000. Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion stating that it's in the best interest of any River County to participate in the pending rule challenge and to authorize the contribution of $1,000 in litigation fees.
Second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion from Commissioner Slurry to participate with the $1,000 contribution. Second from Commissioner Zork. Is there any discussion? Is there anyone from the public wishes to comment? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Kate. Next under the county attorney is the demolition of a burnt structure, Lot 5, Block 5, Glendale Lakes, subdivision 911 46th Avenue, memorandum dated August 28, 2014. Mr. DeBrawl.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill DeBrawl on behalf of the County Attorney's Office. This structure, the former structure located at 911 46th Avenue, suffered a fire in 2010. It was extensively damaged. The owners at that time were the Harpers. We initiated code enforcement and finally demolition process against the structure. In 2013, the Powells went ahead and purchased the property and were the benefactors of the demolition. They were going to go ahead and build a house there. They recognized that the existing structure would have to be demolished, and the demolition occurred at about the same time as the Powells purchased the property. So in speaking with the Powells and at closing, they knew very well that a lien would be forthcoming. Since that time, what they have offered was to pay the costs of the demolition, slated at $52.72, but not the costs that had amassed before they became interested in the property that were of no benefit to them. So what they have done is they have given us a check in the amount of $5,272 and asked that that would be in full and final satisfaction of any lien against the property. Staff's recommendation is to go ahead and accept the tender and have the board authorize the chairman to sign the satisfaction of the lien. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Gentlemen, any questions of Bill? We have a motion from Commissioner Flesher, second from Commissioner Davis. All in favor of the motion signify with aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Bill. With that, there's no commissioner matters. There's no special districts or boards. There being no further business to attend, we stand adjourned.